I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Something unusual was happening in Tampa that night, even before the first song hit. Before BTS had even uttered a single word, the air inside the stadium felt like it was pressing in from all directions, as if the entire city were holding its breath. And amidst the dense atmosphere, the first cheers from the tens of thousands of spectators erupted like a hurricane. The dark Florida sky was suddenly lit up by fireworks that shot up high, emitting a fiery red light that reflected off the giant curved screens that framed the main stage. Fire effects danced along the edges of the stage, creating a dramatic glow that sent the entire arena into a frenzy. Smoke billowed, curled, and then lifted like a curtain, ushering in the first act of something that felt far greater than just a concert. From the top seats to the very front, thousands of army bombs lit up, moving like relentless ocean waves. And as spotlights cut through the darkness, one thing became clear. This was no ordinary concert opening. This was an opening designed to shake the world. A grand opening ceremony for a new era, long-awaited global tour, the Arirang World Tour. As the 7 members of BTS emerged one by one, their aura seemed to engulf the entire stadium. Their dark stage outfits reflected a red and silver sheen, making their silhouettes appear sharp, mysterious, and explosive. Each step felt measured. Each formation felt like part of a ritual that had been prepared for months. But there was one moment that proved to be a turning point, one that turned the cheers into a roar that reached down to the very core. The stage camera slowly panned forward, zooming in on each member's face, and then stopped. Just when the audience thought their voices had reached their peak, the giant screen was suddenly filled with a single face that made the entire stadium jump to their feet. Jungkook. The close-up shot was so dramatic that many said it felt like the world stopped for a moment. The red glow of the fire effects cast a soft glow on his face, while the wisps of thin smoke behind him added a cinematic feel that was hard to match. His dark outfit, studded with metallic details, glinted under the lights, creating a powerful, undeniable presence. Then came that gaze, a gaze of complete focus and intensity that seemed to cut straight through the crowd. As Jungkook began his line, the audience didn't just cheer, they screamed like they were losing control. Jungkook's voice resonated throughout the stadium, flowing through the speakers and reaching all the way to the back seats. Even through the fan recording, the volume of his screams was unbelievable. It was as if all of Tampa was sucked into that one moment. The internet immediately exploded. Fans began reposting the close-up, repeating it over and over again, as if they couldn't believe it was real. Many wrote that the atmosphere of the stadium completely changed when Jungkook appeared. Some said his stage presence was too powerful to comprehend. Others claimed to have goosebumps the entire time. But it wasn't just the visuals that shook things up. As the next vocal section began, the audience began to realize something bigger was happening. Jungkook's vocals sounded stronger, more stable, and more mature than ever. This wasn't a casual performance or an easy part. It was a moment full of movement, smoke effects, and wild energy. But amidst the dramatic chaos, Jungkook sang his lines with impeccable technique, steady tone, and control that left many speechless. When Like Animals was performed live, Jungkook's voice truly took center stage. His low notes filled the stage like a gentle rumble, while his high notes remained steady despite his non-stop movement. Fans online called it one of the best vocal performances of the opening night, and many immediately concluded that Jungkook had just set a new standard for the tour. But the power of this moment didn't come from Jungkook alone. It was because the 7 members of BTS moved like one body. Jungkook, Jimin, RM, Jin, Suga, and J-Hope, that their energy synchronized with the precision of a machine honed over years. Every formation felt sharp, every transition as smooth as a breath, and the entire stage seemed like one giant, living organism. That's what made Tampa feel like the center of the world that night. As the opening reached its climax, one message became clear. BTS hadn't come to Tampa to simply kick off a tour. They'd come to redefine what a world. Even though the stage had dimmed to make way for the next song's transition, the energy in the stadium hadn't dropped at all. Quite the contrary. The tension in the air felt like it was building, as if the entire crowd was preparing for something even greater than what they'd just seen. Everyone waited, holding their breath, hoping the next moment would match the explosive atmosphere they'd felt when Jungkook first appeared on the giant screen. Then, slowly, the stage screens lit up again. Soft blue lights moved, forming thin lines that swept across the stage like a night breeze. Smoke effects began to billow from the left and right sides, creating silhouettes of the BTS members as they moved to their respective positions. The audience recognized the signs immediately. This wasn't a simple pause. It was a sign that the next act was just beginning. As the new beat hit, flashes of light swept across the audience like a wave of light. The new OT7 formation appeared center stage with even more coordination than before, and the cheers soared once again, even higher than the fireworks at the beginning of the concert. But the audience's focus quickly shifted. Although the 7 members presented a solid formation that felt like a unified whole, Jungkook was once again the center of attention that night. A single spotlight fell directly on him. Not a blindingly bright spotlight, but a dim light with a golden tinge that radiated a deep, dramatic aura. Behind the thin stage fog, Jungkook stood, breathing steadily, as if preparing to enter a different performance mode than before. When the first notes of his verse rang out, the entire stadium froze. His vocals had changed. No longer the intense, powerful voice of the opening, but a soft, flowing low voice that felt almost like a whisper in the audience's ear. Yet, precisely because of its softness, his voice felt more powerful, as if something he deliberately saved for a more emotional moment. Many immediately caught it. This was a side of Jungkook that only emerged during certain performances. A side that displayed a combination of impeccable vocal control and intense, yet gentle expression. And when the camera closed in on his face again, the Tampa audience felt a sense of déjà vu from that first explosive moment. Jungkook's eyes were intently focused, as if staring at something far away in front of the stage. Yet at the same time, he also felt connected to everyone watching him. That expression, a calmness laced with determination, was something that made many fans hold their breath involuntarily. The formation behind him slowly moved, surrounding him in a choreographed pattern that swept the stage like a whirlpool. Jungkook remained at the center. His every movement was in sync with the music, his body moving like a shadow of the rhythm. And right at the chorus, a drastic change occurred. The music kicked up, the stage lights exploded into a golden white glow, and Jungkook unleashed a powerful vocal that sent the stadium into a frenzy. Cheers erupted for the second time that night. What made this moment even more extraordinary was how the 7 members maintained their synchronized energy. They moved quickly, the formations changing with seamless transitions, and their vocal harmonies supported each other like a perfect web that kept the performance solid. And amidst this whirlpool of energy, Jungkook shone like the center of gravity of the stage. When the song ended, the audience didn't wait a second to scream. The atmosphere, already high from the beginning of the concert, became even more frenetic, and many felt like they were witnessing something that would never be repeated. Not only because Jungkook was outstanding, but because the entire stage felt like a living work of art created by 7 people who knew exactly how to build a moment. And the climax came when the screen returned to a quick montage of the opening moments. Taehyung's cheers, Jimin's, RM's, everyone was loud. But when Jungkook's close-up appeared again, the stadium erupted for the 3rd time. Someone at the front even raised their light stick and shouted, seemingly speechless, "This is just the opening. This is just day 1. And somehow, everyone knew it was true. That night wasn't the culmination. It was the foundation for something that would rock cities to come. One thing became clear. Tampa wasn't just the opening venue. It was the starting point of a global explosion, and Jungkook was the spark that ignited it.
Give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that